Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Live, Laugh, and Love. This is episode 6 of season 2. First of all, thank you so much for all the support. We've received a lot of comments, a lot of views, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. The videos won't be running. We wouldn't be still doing this if it weren't for you, and you guys make the whole thing run. I just want to say thank you so much, and thank you for the support. And yeah. Today's episode is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be an amazing one because today's guest is someone who is just a bubbly, like a happy person who is introverted but at the same time extroverted and has so many different hobbies going on, and she's just an interesting person to talk to. Serena, welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
How are you doing, first of all?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I mean, it was raining today. I'm not a rainy guy. I'm a sunny guy. It was a bit cloudy, so yeah, not the best day, but yeah, great day overall. You came back from your F1 in school. I've been watching the vlogs. I've talked to Mr. Starost often. We saw the highlights. I want to know. Tell us everything about F1 in school, and like it must have been an amazing experience.
Yeah. So, best experience so far in my life, which is a lot to say, but yeah, it was incredible. So we went all the way to Saudi Arabia on a long flight. It was like 2 stops. It was crazy. We traveled for like a total of like 26 hours, something like that, something insanely long. And then we went there, and for like an entire week, we were just like focused on just doing F1 in schools, and we met all these incredible people from like, I think it was like 40 countries, and yeah, it was amazing. Let's see. We got really close with like a Greek team. I think you saw it in the vlogs. They were so sweet. Shout out to Infinite Green Race. They're great. Yeah, and like, it was great to represent Vietnam as like the only representative and meet all these like incredible people with like the same passions and like so smart. Like the cars they came up with were like insane. Like I couldn't have even dreamt of these, and they've like worked all so hard to get there. So yeah. If there's any questions, I'm like open to answer them, but yeah, it was incredible.
First of all, did you have the Dunkin' Donuts in the vlog?
Oh my god, yeah. So that was like so good. I think I got the Biscoff one, and then we tried to do like ASMR, but I am not like an on-camera person, so it was just like awkwardly eating. And Mateo was like, "We're not keeping this in. We're not keeping this in." So I was like, "Oh, love it." Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I've always wanted to ask you. It's a big thing, and I'm sure it's gonna be competitive. But I want to know, like, what were your goals coming into this competition, and did you achieve them, or did they change during the competition? What was your mindset going into this big thing?
Well, we kind of knew like we couldn't win against all these people who've been doing it for like years. Like you come into this competition and people have been doing it for like 3-4 years. Like it's been their entire high school experience, and like they've worked on it daily, so many hours dedicated into this one singular project. So honestly, the goals that I had into this competition was just to have as much fun as possible. It's like to meet as many people as possible and like, get what I can from the experience. So yeah.
I mean, that's great. I mean, meeting new people is fun.
Yeah, I met so many new people. It's crazy. My Instagram followers were like,
skyrocketing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Were there any funny episodes or scenes during the competition you want to share with us?
Let's see, like funny scenes. I wouldn't say it's like funny, but I would say like everyone around us really liked our hats. Actually, I have my hat. Should I get it?
Yeah,
I'll go get it. It's like right here.
What's
Ta-da!
that?
So, actually, if you can see, it's signed by Fernando Alonso. Oh my god, I need to
No.
tell the story. It's crazy. Oh my god.
You
Okay,
gotta
I
put that in like a box or something. What are you doing with it?
I know, right? I should be like hanging this as my heirloom, and then my
Exactly.
children will get it, and they're like, "You met Fernando Alonso." Yeah, I know, I know. This would go up really high on auctions. But everyone wanted to wear a hat, which is really nice. They were so sweet. I took like a lot of photos with everyone with these hats on. It was the most popular thing ever, and I think that like we stood out the most, because it's like red
Yeah.
and it's really nice. So yeah, from day one we were like eyes on us because we were very
I saw.
red. Yeah.
Absolutely. Wait, so you met Fernando Alonso the whole thing? How was that
Mm.
like?
Oh my god. I okay. So I kind of got a tip off beforehand by one of the competition organizers. He was really sweet because we got to know him because he knew Mr. Saros. Like Mr. Saros used to help their team. Like it was, I guess the entire world is connected. But yeah, it was great. And he was like, a driver might be coming. And I was like, who? And he was like, look at the car. Because there was like an F1 car on display
Mm-hmm.
and it belonged to Fernando Alonso.
Oh, it's an
So
Aston Martin car.
yeah. It was entirely sponsored by Aramco. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. And I started freaking out, right? Like a normal person.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And I was like, oh my god, it's Fernando Alonso. And I was so excited. And then we were all seated, and then the presenter goes, something, I forgot. And he was like, welcome the two-time world champion, Fernando Alonso. And then we were all like, whoa. And he just like appeared, like Fernando Alonso, the man
Like
himself.
him, Fernando
Yeah,
Alonso. Just
he's him. He's literally him. Yeah, and he walked onto the stage, talked for a bit, and then we were told to go back to our pit displays, which were like these things that we built and stuff. And he came, like he like walked through the thing. And then Mr. Denford, who's the guy who made the entire like F1 in schools, he led Fernando himself, Alonso, to us. He was like, guys, they have the best uniform because of our hats. And
oh
then he
my
signed our
god, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, did you have like some small talk with him? Like any interactions with him? No.
No, because I think he was trying to sign as many people as possible. And I was like, I'm such a big fan. Can you sign my shirt? He signed my shirt. And then I started crying.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Because I was like, oh my god, it's Fernando Alonso. And then I was like so overwhelmed. I started like tearing up.
I
Embarrassing, but it's good.
mean, wow, that's an experience for you to tell for a long time.
I know, right? Sorry, I just like talked on for so long. But yeah, it was amazing.
No, it's okay. I mean, okay, so F1 in school is amazing, and I wanted to know, like, is there a reason? Because I also know you're a big fan of F1, correct?
Yeah.
Is there a reason? Is there a reason why? Is there a reason why you're really into F1, or is it just something how like you just thought it was a fun thing to do and you just caught onto the trend?
It was actually because my best friend, Narisu, I'm gonna shout her out because she's definitely watching this video. She first started talking about F1 and she's such a nerd. She kept on yapping about it for like months. And I was never into it, right? And then one day I was like, might as well watch a Grand Prix. And then from then on, history was made.
History was made.
Yeah. Because the cars, they're so fast and you're just like, whoa, like everything about it is so cool. Like it's so incredible how like people come together to make a rocket ship on the floor just for entertainment.
Exactly.
It's incredible. Yeah.
It's just a rocket ship engineered car on a circuit.
Exactly. And that's amazing. So
That's fun.
Exactly.
I mean, so hold up. So let's bring this back. So you weren't an F1 fan originally, but your best friend Risu was like,
Yeah.
talked about, and you're like, why not, look into like why not watch a Grand Prix? And you're like, since then, history is made.
Mm.
Um, who do you support initially? Like, did you have
Mm.
like a shift era of like different teams? Because I had a big Mercedes era, but then
Mm-mm-mm.
I've changed into I had a big Haas era, and now I've given up on Haas. Because obviously it's Haas. So
Yeah.
I'm still a free agent. I haven't decided on my favorite team yet. So I want to know, like, did you have like an area of different teams going on, or did you stick to one and stay loyal to it?
Mm. It's a really good question because I feel like today is like the time I can scout people into my team. But yeah, so I started off with Ferrari like any normal person or everyone. Well, everyone fell in love with Charles, right? Because
Yeah,
Charles. But
Charles.
I was a big Charles fan, but like not too big of a Charles fan. I was more like a Carlos fan, right?
Yeah,
And then I watched it, and then I was like, this is nice. And then I followed Ferrari for a bit, and then I realized I actually really like Williams because they're cool. You know,
yeah,
like
yeah. The
you
underdog
vote.
story.
Yeah, exactly. The underdogs, connected. But yeah, they're great. I love Alex Albon. He's like top 3 definitely. Cutie patootie, amazing driver, has like 20 pets or something. Yeah. Wait, yeah. So then I moved on to like McLaren.
Okay.
Yeah, who has Oscar Piastri. Actually, I would say Oscar Piastri is like my top driver right now. For like a long time, since the beginning. I had
Mm-hmm.
my eyes on him. I knew he was gonna be like really good. Like I could tell, and he
You've been
is.
an OG fan.
Exactly. As soon as he joined, I was like, that's him. That's
We're
me.
winning it, and McLaren did win it this year, correct?
They did, yeah. I mean, Lando didn't win the championship,
Yeah,
but
yeah. A win
yeah,
is a win.
a win is a win. A
A
win
win
is
is
a
a
win.
win.
Exactly. I mean, tell me about your team. I know you like Haas, which is like there's like 2 Haas fans, and like one of them is you.
Yeah. Who's the
So,
other Haas fan?
um, like I don't know. It used to be Gunther, but he's off now. He's like a
Oh
Haas.
yeah.
So
I
yeah.
so this Haas thing started because I was a big Mercedes guy. Like, I don't know
Mercedes.
how, but it was the first team. Like obviously, so this was like COVID pandemic stuff. Because I remember in DT we were doing like this like design a car, and we were like in COVID, and we're like, how the hell are we supposed to create a car? So, a group of friends, and we joined a Google Meet, and we started watching like car analysis videos, and we started watching like Grand Prix, and that's how
Mm,
we stumbled into Mercedes, and because they were always winning it, so we just naturally thought, make our designs based on those cars. So then I became a big I was a big Lewis fan
mm,
until George came. And when
mm.
like I think it was like the last season where George replaced Bottas temporarily or something. I don't know what happened. Oh no,
Yeah.
sorry. George replaced Hamilton temporarily on I think it was Qatar or Bahrain or one of those tracks. And that's when I realized that George Russell is him. Because he was from a Williams
Mm,
previously. Uh yeah, so I've been a big George Russell. I still am, don't get me wrong, but yeah, so I was a big George Russell fan, but then I got, that whole like Red Bull versus Mercedes took a
mm.
big like social toll on me, like an energy toll. So I
Yeah.
was like, might as well support the underdogs. And when I realized that K Mag and who was it? And Hulkenberg were coming back, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be actually really fun to see their podcast and like their media stuff. So I started supporting Haas, and then no, as you know, we're not the best at winning.
Like the best of being the worst, and that's an achievement in of itself, I think.
No, but like what Williams is doing right now is amazing. They
Mm.
brought in the guy from Mercedes. I forgot his name. What was his name?
Um. Yeah, the guy from Mercedes,
Yeah, the
basically.
Mercedes
Yeah,
guy.
the Mercedes guy.
And
Yeah.
how he changed everything is so like it's crazy because you're
Mm.
seeing a lot of progress now with like the Williams, and the car is actually doing better. But like Haas were like still
Oh wait,
stuck in the
James.
same. James, yeah,
James.
James Vowles,
Yeah,
James
yeah,
Vowles,
James
James
Bond,
Vowles.
yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and then we got rid of Gunter, and Gunter was the only thing that made me like at least stick to
Mm,
Haas because he was just entertaining. So Gunter is gone, and then
mm,
Haas is Haas. So I'm a free agent right now. I don't have a favorite team right now. I'm still scouting for my.
mm,
I did. I was about to have like a what was it? A big Williams like you, but I
Mm.
stopped because I chose between Williams and Haas. I was like, might as
Mhm.
well go for the underdogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I started supporting Haas, and I've realized that the calendar it's changing. I mean, so for like what's going on? A Cadillac's coming in, Audi's
Yeah.
coming in,
Yep.
and then Sauber is being bought by Audi,
Mm.
and then Renault is no longer going to be Renault soon. I don't know. It's crazy right now the calendar,
Yeah, yeah. There's like a lot
and
of
like
stuff on.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then like the driver stuff, like
Yeah.
Hamilton to Ferrari. Oh my
Oh my
god,
god. Did you just see Checo just got booted like
I
not less
know.
than 24 hours ago?
He's in Williams now. And Williams is gonna be now fun because he got a smooth operator.
Oh, it's just gonna be two Spanish speaking people. I mean, they've always gotten along well, so it's gonna be like super interesting to
Mhm.
see how it goes. Like if Ferrari do have a title winning car next year and it's gonna be like Hamilton versus Leclerc, it's gonna be like
Yeah, it's a
genuinely
big.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
probably gonna be like Rosberg and Hamilton, and when
Mm,
Rosberg like that rivalry they had one time. So it'll be really
yeah.
fun to watch.
We don't know yet because
We don't know.
like we don't know who Ferrari is going to choose if they do have a title fight because
Yeah,
Leclerc's been with them for so long. So I think they're gonna
exactly.
choose Charles, but then Hamilton won't stand by that because it's Hamilton,
No,
you
he
know.
will. It's
Yeah, very
hammer
disrespectful.
time probably. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, unfortunately, who was it? His race engineer, he won't be joining him. Um,
Bono's not moving.
yeah, Bono's not moving. Sad.
That's
No
so
hammer time.
sad.
I
No
know.
hammer time. I
Maybe,
mean,
maybe hammer time. We don't know.
maybe we don't know. Like the guy in
Mhm.
Ferrari might do it. We don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I've always wanted to ask you, what's your favorite F1 meme?
that's a really interesting
There's so
question.
many good ones out there.
There's so many good ones. Um, I don't know. That's a really good question. Okay, actually, recently I've been contrary to most people. I really like Max.
Hmm.
I think he's like he deserves the world champion 4 times. Controversial. I don't know if you're a Lewis fan, but um I think he's great. Like he's a great guy. He's now gonna be a dad. Well, he is a dad now. Um and I think he's gonna also retire soon. Wait, what was the initial question? I just like completely lost track because I was
Meme,
talking.
favorite meme.
Oh yeah, okay, good point. That's a lot. There's so many. What's your favorite meme? Let's start that off with. Yeah.
Favorite meme. Uh, there's so many good ones out there.
Mm.
I like the one with like Ferrari and their like pit stop memes, the engine failure memes, and
uh,
like their tires and like the cars just going nuts and like was bonkers.
mm.
I also really like the Logan Sargent when he scored points in Austin. And then like,
Oh
what the
yeah,
hell is a kilometer? Rah! And then
that
like
was really
eagle
good.
sounds blasting. That was fun too.
Yeah, I had like a moment where I just wouldn't stop saying "what is a kilometer." Like I think it was just like part of my daily vocabulary for a long
Yeah.
time. Let's see. One of the OG ones is like Alonso in a chair.
Yeah.
That one's pretty funny, but
Yeah.
there's so many. It's crazy. Okay, let's start listing them. The George ones.
Mazepin.
Okay,
Mazaspin.
Mazepin. Mazepin's another one.
That was
But,
so fun.
but recently, I have to say, you know that like NASCAR versus F1 meme, and
Yeah.
it's like the pit stops.
Uh-huh.
Did you see that video? Where
I
I'm in
think I
the
saw it.
pit, and it's like
No,
F1
but
pit stops.
it's just rapid. No, but
Yeah, and
NASCAR is switching. They're switching their like tire, like changing stuff into F1 now.
is they? Oh my god, are they?
They're changing how they do their pit stops now, which is gonna be like
Oh,
F1.
oh, that's
It'll
interesting.
be
Because
really
the
interesting.
reel I saw, it was like the mechanic jumping on the car, taping it, using like a
Duct tape
machine.
everywhere, sticking
It's
stuff back on mid race.
yeah, it's so good. Uh, I'll send you that video if I do see it. It's a great
Okay.
video. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, there's so many good memes out there. It's hard to
there's so
choose.
many good memes. It's so hard to choose.
Hmm.
What are some other ones? Mm, I like the ones where it's like the driver is in on it. So like the songs, I guess.
Yeah.
So Carlos with this smooth
Move
operator.
operator.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a really good one too.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Hmm.
Oh, actually, I have like a few. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It's my dog. Sorry.
It's okay.
It's my rat dog. Oh, her name's Gummy. But I have like a few that my friend gifted me for Secret Santa. She's the sweetest.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Oh, what did you get for? So you got those for Secret Santa?
Actually, no, it was like a friend circle one, so I didn't do the
Oh, okay.
sixth form
The
one,
six form
unfortunately.
one. Yeah, yeah.
But look, it's a Vettel Ferrari number 5.
Ooh.
Um,
Oh yeah, Vettel. Yeah,
oh yeah,
damn,
Vettel. He's great. He's great. He's great.
he's a great person.
Yeah,
I
top driver.
cried. I think I cried with like when he retired
Mm,
from Aston. Such a great
really?
guy. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was so emotional because back then it would be Hamilton, then Vettel, then Bottas would be like my favorite drivers.
Mm. So you're like an OG
Mm.
OG. You were like out the womb
No,
when you.
not an OG, not an OG, but
Yeah, me neither.
like
Like, yeah.
this was like the 2020 season.
Mm.
I was like diehard in 21, 22, but I slowed down. So I've been on and off of it, but I'm still
That
keeping up with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good. Like F1's really tough to follow because they're all over the world. So it's like sometimes
Yeah.
they're at like 4 a.m. and you're just like,
Hmm.
what is this?
What am I supposed to do?
On a Saturday, Sunday evening? Like, I'm not doing that.
Exactly. I got school tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm like, I have an IHU in 2 hours. I can't, you know.
Yeah.
But then that makes you miss out on like really great moments. So I
Mm.
tend to not want to miss races because I miss
Mm.
Lando's maiden win and I got so mad. Oh my god. Yeah, I woke up and I was like, goddamn, I missed it.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh
Mhm.
no. But yeah. Yeah. Any other
Serena,
questions?
yeah.
Yeah.
So live, laugh, and love. We talk about the things we like, we love, but also we laugh overall. I wanted to ask you, life's deep. Life's full of life's a roller coaster.
Mm.
We don't know what life has for us, but could you tell us just like a experience or story of something unexpected happening in your life, and it could be positive or negative, but I want to know how do you react to it?
This is a good question. I guess like what makes life interesting is the unexpected part because you live most of your life and then it's these unexpected things that change the trajectory of where you're headed.
Hmm.
Um, for me, it's not the biggest like emotional thing I've had to deal with, but probably like once again, I'm mentioning her again, but is my best friend leaving out of nowhere. Like she stood up. She was like, "I'm out of this country. Like I just became best friends with you, but I don't care. I'ma leave." And that can be tough. Like especially as international students, that happens on like a daily basis where
Mm.
your friends all like decide to leave to different countries. But yeah, it's been tough like trying to like reconcile with that because it's like you need to start looking for new friends. You need to start like considering like the balance because now I'm like in sixth form. Like, do I look for like a social life? Do I look for like academic? So yeah, I would say the biggest part in navigating that like uncertain aspect of your life is to just accept everything as it comes your way and just be like you will move on from that from a certain point. Like you will overcome this part even if it seems like you aren't going anywhere. There's always going to be an ending to your suffering.
Mhm.
And like how you reach that point is like it's not really up to you or it is up to you. Like it depends on how you look at things. Like if it makes you feel better that it's not up to you, then think that it's not up to you. But if it makes you feel better
Mhm.
that you have control over your life, then it is up to you. I think
Mhm.
that's something that yeah, everyone should think about. But yeah, that's my
Mhm.
perspective on it. Yeah.
I mean, it sucks like having to choose like having to react to something where you can't control it. It's beyond your abilities. And and you said that you were like just becoming best friends,
Mhm.
and then yeah, that must have hurt too. I mean, I'm sure you guys are still friends and talk to each other, but yeah, losing someone out like that, it can give a big at this age too, like with the
Mhm.
teens and the young adults, and we're trying that weird period, and yeah, that. Oh wow, I mean, Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
must
mean,
have felt like it happened out of nowhere, and you're like so surprised. It's like if I was to describe this in F1 terms, it's like uh
Carlos leaving Mercedes, and he's just like, bye
yeah,
bye.
it's just like yeah, saying goodbye, and
Yeah.
it's like Vettel retiring first time when he
Mm,
retired, not the second time he came back, because we knew he was getting older, and so we knew it's inevitable. We just never
mm.
knew when it would happen.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
and I think that's really hard as international students, because people have their lives going on. We don't know what's in their lives, and
Mm,
who knows? Like it may be the last time you're meeting that person, so it's really hard, especially having and creating that strong relationship too at international school is a big commitment, 100%.
mm,
I mean, so you explained how you were you had a thought of like where you pursue this like a academic side of it where you just keep on grinding your studies, or you try to get a social life out of it. And what did you do? Because there are two different options.
Um, I
Or
would
which
say
one do you lean more to?
I did like I'm not very I wouldn't say I'm like an introvert because I think I'm quite extroverted in the way I talk,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
um I don't really like to go out that much because I think it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of extra stuff that I don't want to be involved with,
Mm-hmm.
those areas. So I think I would say I leaned in more towards the academic, but even then, contrary to popular belief, I don't study like at all. Like it's really bad. 'Cause,
Contrary to popular belief.
no, because it's like I hear some people just go, "Oh, you must study so much." No, I don't study at all. It's crazy how like little I study. Which you shouldn't do. Study, okay? Like to people watching, you should study. But it's like I like grind 2 days before the exam. But when I mean grind, I mean like a term's worth of like work I grind in 2 days before the exam.
First of all, is that even possible? Oh
Um,
wow.
well,
I hope your subject teachers are not watching this.
ooh, I hope not, because I mean, it's not like I've been getting like incredibly bad scores. It's just like it's not like the high end scores. It's
Hmm.
just if I get a
Right
seven,
there.
it's fine, right? you know. But for econ, I have not been getting sevens. But we don't talk about econ because
Okay.
econ does not exist. But yeah,
Okay. Econ does
don't
not
do that.
exist.
Don't do that, guys. Don't.
Don't. Okay.
Yeah. Stay consistent. That's important. Yeah.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just
How
stay
did we
consistent.
talk about academics? Wait,
I
hold up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We talked about like your choice after having that.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm very like all over the
No, it's
place.
okay.
So you need to like kind of refocus me back a bit because I
It's
like to do
okay.
this.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
No worries.
Um. What were we talking about? Something deep. Um. Oh yeah. What life did I choose? Yeah. So I ended up choosing more academic.
Hmm.
Um. But I think at this age, like you should be able to choose whatever you think is right for you. Like if you want
Hmm.
to be sociable, then go for it. But if you want to be academic, also go for that. Doesn't really.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's important. Um, Serena, I've always wanted to ask this from like to people that are older than me, and I'm sure like people older than me probably have more experience.
Mm.
I want to know, do you think that with age comes with maturity, or is that not always the case? And if not, what do you think is a better way to say that?
Hmm. If age does age come with maturity? Um, I think it's not really age. I think it's like year group based. So I feel like people who are technically like a few months younger than me but are in the same year group will definitely have very similar maturity levels. Um, while like people who are maybe like slightly older than me, but they're only older by like a few months, but they've like already graduated, they're gonna definitely have a much higher maturity level. So I do think it all really depends on
Mm,
experience and like the people that you surround yourself with. I think that's very important. Um, but more so experience. I think it's what you learn from aging that's what contributes to your maturity, I think. Because you're gonna have a lot more
AJ.
experience. Yeah,
Mhm.
aging, all those 60-year-olds with their maturity. But like even then, I think just because you're old doesn't mean you're mature. And in the same way, just
Mhm.
because you're young, that doesn't mean you're not mature. Um, it's also about the person. Like, if you're like emotionally intelligent, like if you're out there and listening to what people say and what people are trying to say, then I think you're definitely more mature than people who just take things at face value, or people who don't consider the larger picture. Like, um, yeah, I don't know what the better saying would be though. That's a tough question.
Mhm.
With experience comes maturity.
With experience comes maturity. Fair enough. Fair point.
Yeah, yeah. What's
Mhm.
your opinions on it? Like, I feel like sometimes hearing the host's opinions is very important. But yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that I agree on the part. I wholeheartedly agree on the fact that just because you have age doesn't mean you're always mature, and
Mm,
there's other incidents where they're not mature. That's okay. People develop at different rates. Not saying act like intellectually, but just like naturally, by like in the context of maturity. Um, and it's hard. I mean, for me, for example, uh I get people call me like the like a lot. I know some of the people close around me would consider myself as a mature person, but they would call me like a 40-year-old guy in a 16-year-old body, which is a funny thing. I'm okay with it. I'm totally that's fine. I think that's an accurate representation of who I am. But it's hard. I mean,
mm,
trying to fit in. um I've always wanted to ask you. I mean, people have different expectations and different boundaries, but if you have clashing boundaries or different expectations, or something around the lines, like around the lines like that,
mm.
um how do you initiate that relationship between a friend, for example? Do you not initiate in the first place, or do you stand by your boundaries? Because I would personally stand by with my boundaries, and I would tell them my boundaries, but I want to know what would you do?
Mm. Um, I think you come to test your boundaries when you are in a situation where you're close with that person.
Mm-hmm.
So, like when you first meet a person, your first signs aren't to like establish these boundaries and be like, "This is my limit," you know. It's more like as soon as they start requesting more for you because they feel comfortable enough
Mm-hmm.
to request those things or say those things, that's when you really come to like question like which extent, like the extent to which you will take something as a burden, right?
Mm-hmm.
um for me personally, I think my boundaries are very like low. Like I think I'm very open most of the time. I'm a very direct person, and I stand by that statement because for me, um some people have these natural boundaries that they put, and you can't ever look beyond that because it's just their entire personality is that boundary,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you can't ever cross into that unless you are like a family member or someone incredibly, incredibly close. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure. Like I would say establish your boundaries. Like due to like you need to make sure that you're comfortable in a relationship. That's the most important thing because if you start having a relationship where both ways aren't like equal, if you're giving more than you're taking, or they're giving less and they're receiving more, that's not unfair. Like that's a very unfair situation, and um, in the end, they're gonna end up taking advantage of that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult because you have these ties with these people. Like you're like, oh, but they care for me because they show these moments where it's like, oh, I care for you. But in the end, when you have that feeling, like that you care for them more than they care for you, and that's when you have to step your foot down and be like, I need to cut this relationship because
Mm-hmm.
it's doing more harm than good in the end. um yeah, I would say like cut ties with people that you think are not good for you, or at least try and distance yourself because
Mm-hmm.
it is really emotionally draining and you will regret the time and effort you put into sustaining that relationship when you knew you could have put it into someone else that you wanted to get to know, or like you knew you would have gained something more from them. Yeah.
I mean,
Sorry, that was
yeah.
very yappy, but
No, it's okay. That was a really great words of advice. I mean, you mentioned something really interesting, and it's about like giving and taking.
mm,
Um, and you said how if that's like the ratio is a bit off, you're giving more than you're receiving, and or you're receiving more than you're giving.
mm,
Um, what do you think is the right thing to do? Do you want to be giving more, or do you want to be taking more? And take into account that having a balance is not a answer.
mm, mm, I think if you're the person taking more, um, it's important to reflect what actions, like what the impact of your actions are of taking more. Like
Hmm.
you need to make sure like you're not hurting that person, because um you don't want to be the one like taking everything from them, because that's not good, right?
Yeah.
It's not sustainable. They will end up pulling away from you. If you really truly do value that person, then I think it's ultimately like a game of trying to balance. Like although you said that balance is not a system, I think it like depends on the situation. So if that person is in a situation where they're more vulnerable, then you have to give more than you take. But if you're vulnerable, then you have the same expectation of them giving more than taking. Um so yeah, it's just like a balance.
Hmm.
Yeah. Even though
I
you
mean,
said it was yeah.
yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, I would say that there's so many people out there that are naturally more giving, or vice versa, and you mentioned something how you might be taking advantage of that, and I think that's really an important thing to talk on. I want to go back to this idea of being like vulnerable and stuff. Do you think that that being adaptive, like what you said, of knowing the person's context is really important? Do you think that applies when it's on you, i.e., um, if you, do you think you should be demanding to what you need? I.e., if you're vulnerable, you want to be receiving more, and if you're not as vulnerable, you want to be giving more. And do you think that should be based on you or based
Mm.
on other people?
Mm.
For example, like let's say I have a policy of me first. So if I'm not feeling good today, I try to make myself as happy as I can, rather than the person next to me if they're having a hard time. Or is it? Like something like that? Do you think that's like that's more of a personality thing and like a decision making thing, rather than something like giving and taking?
Mm. That's really tough because it really does depend on the person you're talking to, because some
Hmm.
people that you naturally spend time with, it's a situation where it's win-win because you do end up just giving to each other. Like
Hmm.
there's no giving or receiving. It's just both you benefit from that situation. But for most relationship, it is a situation where you do give and take. And I don't think if you're feeling down, you should demand something from those people, but it's more like they should be able to realize that you need something. So it's not a situation where you're the one demanding something to be given to you, like hear me out right now. It's not that. It's more like you want to have people around you that are willing to support you, because they also benefit something from that. They like, I think it's really important to acknowledge that even when you give, some people are naturally giving because they gain more from that experience of giving, like during Secret Santa, some people are so happy to give more than receive because they gain joy from the act of simply giving. So, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that analogy, but to summarize, I think it's more like you need to have people that are happy to give you what you need in that situation. And you need
Hmm.
to have people that you're happy to give to when they are in need. Um,
Hmm.
and finding those right people is really difficult. Like you're gonna
That's
have
hard.
so many friends, yeah, and so many new people, but you will get there in the end where you find the people that are right for you. And I think that's really
But
important.
that's the best part of it. You're going on a long journey to like find a small percentage of people, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing if that just clicks. And I think what you've worded it perfectly. I was wanted to ask, do you think I think I personally think communication is a big part of that. Do you think so too?
Yeah, 100%. Like communication is really big. Even like most people, they kind of go off of signals, right? It's kind of like I can tell from their text they mean something else than what they're
Mm-hmm.
saying. But if you truly like value that relationship, then I think it's very important to be like, "Hey, do you need something?" Or I feel like you're feeling down. Do you need anything? I think that's very big. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're in a situation where you don't feel comfortable in being that open, then maybe you need to rethink a little bit about that situation slightly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, Serena, first of all, thank you so much for answering all the questions. Those are all the questions I prepared. Before we end, I usually give some time for my guests to ask questions to me, questions that for whatever reason they weren't able to ask me, or if they were really they want to know the answer to. So fire away, Serena.
Mm. Do you think Max deserved to win 2021?
Straight away. Okay, so I watched the whole scene in Drive to Survive, and I watched it like on YouTube highlights, and I looked into the rule, and
Mm,
I personally think what the FIA did with that rule was messed up because it didn't go with the rule. But at the same time, I understand why they did that
mm,
at that point, because the race was nearly about to end, and probably and at high pressure people make mistakes often. So I think it's a wrong call, but it's a past. No, it happened. Max was competitive. Yes, Lewis Hamilton wanted it, but at the end of the day, it's nothing you can do personally. It's just that they made the wrong call. So just accept and move on. That's what I'm doing.
mm.
So
Very
that's that,
corporate
that
answer.
that's my point.
No
But yes,
definitive.
if you ask me about it, I wasn't happy about it, but it is what it
Mm.
is. So yeah,
That's fair. Yeah. Good
it's
response.
like it's like if I was to say this in F1 terms, it's like exceeding the track limits. Like you didn't mean to do like exceed the track limits, but wait, I hope you didn't mean to exceed the track limits in the first place, but you get a penalty for it, and you're like, what am I supposed to do? Or like
Mm-mm.
you went over a curb, and then that was considered corner cutting, so you got a penalty for it. Or you
Mm.
just bumped someone lightly, and that's a penalty. I mean, stuff like that
Mm.
just happens. So you got to accept and move on, make the
Mm.
most out of it.
That's true. I mean, I wasn't there during that time, so
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be able to say who ultimately deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's a very interesting situation.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Mhm.
And I,
Yeah.
and I think this is also really like an important thing, like in life in general, like lose with grace.
Mm.
If you take if you lose with class, I tell myself, for whatever reason, if I lose in a competitive match, whatever, or be respectful. That person worked harder than you, and you weren't able to win it, but that's not the end of the world. You probably got something out of it, so respect that person, and you know don't no harsh feelings. Yes, you could be angry for a while, but whoa. No, I'm so sorry. Like a fly
I
just
saw like
it
it
is
was
is
like
on
a
the
big
camera.
like yeah, B. It was like a it went across your screen. Is it
Anyways, yeah,
on your computer?
it's on my keyboard as we speak right now. uh,
Get like one of those electric things and just go like
it's going into my computer. It's
oh,
gone. It's gone.
oh, like into the computer?
It's into fans. Oh wait, it's
Like is
out.
it like a keyboard? Like is it?
It,
It's
it
like a
went
fat
into the
fan.
keyboard. Oh wait, it came
Oh
out.
my! Press the key. Don't do that. Oh no.
Oh wait, it's gone. It flew by. Yeah, it came
Okay,
out.
okay, that's good.
Anyways, I was talking.
No.
Yeah, losing
Yeah.
with class.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's one of like another skill. You have to be able to do that. If you lost, you lost. You won, you won. There's no in between, and you just gotta take it and move.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I also know you're really into like sports. We're quite over time, but
It's
I wanted
okay.
to ask this question. Like I have a lot of respect for like I guess just sports people because you need to be able to overcome that laziness, and you need to have that desire to like improve, right? So where do you get the motivation to always go onto the track or go in for like a swim?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, I'm not that competitive. I take everything seriously, but there are instances where I just become obsessed with it. But the key word is instances. That's why I'm
Mm,
not, like kidding. I'm not a champion, because I know I'm not as obsessed as other people. But one of the ways I do it in my personal experience, which I can 100% talk about, is my competitors. My brother too, uh, and my coaches, just the people I have around me. And I think the sporting world, yes, it's a harsh, it's a competitive space, but at the same time, it's an amazing space because you got these people who want to perform at the highest level. That's why they're pushing each other, and that's why you got to improve. Where do I get this idea of wanting to get up out of bed? Like it's like 5:30 in the morning. Why do I want to get up? I think it's just telling myself to just move.
mm,
There was a period of time this year, during my Hanoi trip. I thought that I was on top of the world. I was about to I was gambling everything for that trip, but fortunately, it didn't go out as well as I expected. But it's okay. There were so many great positive benefits I can take out of it and lessons. But I remember it was a Friday night, a Friday sorry no Friday it was a Thursday night, and I had training in Friday morning, and I didn't want to go, but I knew that someone else would be training when I'm sleeping in, and vice versa.
mm,
And I don't like that. I think it's just natural for me to be. I think I'm quietly a competitor. I tell myself I don't think I'm like as like competitive as other people, but at the same time, I still have that in me, and I think that just awakens something inside me, which I have no clue, and it just drives me insane. There was a period in time where I would go crazy because I added like a millisecond. And
mm.
a millisecond is a big, like a second is a big change, but like just a millisecond. I mean, yeah, I mean, it makes you go crazy, but at the end of the day, I gotta wake up, I gotta do it, and at the end, I love this thing. I love swimming, and I'm not doing it just because I've done it for so long. It's a sport I really enjoy, and I think that's one way of it. You actually have to enjoy the sport. I mean, without enjoying the sport, how are you supposed to be in and out of trainings? Maintaining your diet, or being like actually mentally preparing for races. One of the big things is to actually enjoy the sports and remember, at the end of the day, it's not only a competition, but it's also there for your well-being and there for you to have fun.
Mm. I think that's really interesting because genuinely it's like a struggle with yourself, right? Like every
Hmm.
morning you have to be like, this is for myself, even if in the moment it's kind of tough. But yeah, I do have
100%.
like a lot of respect for you guys. Like I could never like maintain my diet or like be like, oh no, a millisecond, you know? um and I think like I have a respect for you guys making it like an obsession. Like it's really interesting. Um yeah, good job
I
out
mean,
there.
thank you. It means a lot. I mean, most importantly, I want to add just one more thing. I think the reason why I think people, especially like anything that's related to a time, like athletics, if it's a numerical statistical data, sorry, I butchered that. Numerical statistical data that's being involved, I think that's when like it goes crazy. For example, like how like athletics, running, swimming, or like a marathon, for example, there's something that's numerical about it. There's the number. But a lot of people think it's about you versus other people, but I think the most important thing is you versus the stopwatch. I mean,
Mm,
the reason why I enjoy swimming is because it's me versus. I've said this a lot. It's me versus a stopwatch, and I think that's fun because I test myself how far I can go, and I see it for myself and experience it myself, and I think that's one of the things why I still enjoy doing sports, is because there's something about it. There's something about me being able to improve even by a millisecond. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, that's great. Um, yeah, like that's incredible that you can gain so much from just seeing yourself improve. And I think it's also great because you can see like yourself numerically improve each time, right? Like you
Yeah.
can see the actual progress happening. Um, yeah, maybe I should take up on sports.
It feels
Mm,
good. when you see that like that green, because there's an app, there's something called Meet Mobile, and it has like all your swimming times on it from like the competitions
Mm,
you've participated. And if you so they give you your seat time, so the time you were put into the race,
mm,
and after the race they put in the final time, and if it's green it means you shave time, if it's red you added time.
mm,
And for a long period of time after like 2020 COVID was the one time I shaved so much time, like
mm,
surprisingly so much for the amount of I trained. But that's because of puberty, we're naturally getting grower, but growing taller and stronger, etc. But like it hurts when you like have a period like you're plateauing with like you're adding time, you're subtracting time, it's just a millisecond, but then you're losing a millisecond, but then you're adding a millisecond, and it's just on and off thing.
mm,
So I mean the recent race, I was really happy about it because we shaved a lot of time, like so much for me to expect. It was like so long. I've actually shaved a significant amount of time, in my opinion, and I think you're right on the fact that it's really you're proud of it. Like it feels good seeing that you're making progress. So
mm.
yeah,
But it could also get a little bit toxic, right? Like just seeing
yeah,
green.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. And I think the most important thing, I don't know, I think I'm being a hypocrite here, but like I told myself no balancing, but like when I ask you a question, but I think I retract that statement. I think balancing is one of the most important things. Being
Yeah.
able to be a competitor at the same time, be a better person, man. Like I mean,
Mm,
the swimming community in general are there's so many great people out there, so many great coaches, so many people that just want you to root for you, but there's at the end of the day, not everyone's like that. But I think the most important thing is you keep doing what you think is right, and
mm,
being a respectful competitor, being a fierce competitor, but having that ability to turn off and on. I think that's the most important thing, because it gets toxic where if you keep that competitive mode on, you just look like no one wants to be with you, and it's not a good thing. It's not a good place to be, obviously. But
mm.
yeah, balance is really important to not be toxic. Absolutely.
Yeah. That was great. I actually really enjoyed that because it was like I could also be like one of my like lessons that I've learned over these years of being slightly older than
Hmm.
you. You know, like but yeah, it was great fun to
Hmm.
be on Live, Laugh, and Love. Good
Great. I
moment.
mean, Serena, first of all, thank you so much for coming on to this podcast. I mean, it really means a lot. You're 13. You're about to graduate. You're having your finals are up ahead. I mean, I think a lot of things must be going on in your life. I just want to say thank you so much for making an hour's worth of your time on a school holiday. Um, do you want to say anything to our audience before we end the podcast?
Um what do other people normally say? What do
Uh,
they
they say goodbye. They say remember to subscribe and like. Some people just say a message. Whatever you want, really.
remember to like and subscribe for daily up or is it daily or like
It's not
weekly or
daily. Just uploads in general.
yeah, wait for these uploads. He's a great guy. Um, and watch F1. Give it a shot
Watch that
if you
pause.
aren't into F1. Yeah,
Absolutely. I mean,
and yeah,
ladies,
just be
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry to make this. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, it was great fun. Join this podcast. Is this like a podcast? I'm not sure.
It's podcast.
Whatever it is, it's great. If he asks you, join without any thoughts. It's an amazing experience. Boom.
Thank you. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you get your podcasts from, Spotify or YouTube, please drop in a review. Like Serena has said, drop in a like, and might as well put a subscribe in. It's free. Um, this was, I'm your host, David. This was Serena. This was episode 6 of Live, Laugh, and Love. And we'll see you guys soon. Goodbye, guys.
Peace out. Bye bye.